Hello again, everybody. It's Eric with Better Every Shave. Today I have a video on a razor and a soap, so I wanted to feature both of them. And today's razor is the PAL Adjustable Injector. It's a single-edge safety razor and dates from, I believe, the 50s and 60s. And it's one of the first, if not the first, stainless steel razor, which is an interesting claim to fame. The soap is DentonMajik. I have their Game Changer base in Unscented. So I took a look at that. Added some fragrance drops to it, but we'll take a look at that as well. So I've been looking at the PAL Adjustable for a while, and actually, it's no surprise to anyone, I'm sure, that I'm a big fan of single edge razors, and so any single edge razor that's out there, particularly vintage ones, are interesting to me. For some reason, these had been plentiful last year, say like mid last year, when I first started looking at safety razors, and had bought a number of vintage injectors and things, but I just hadn't picked this one up. And when I finally got around to it, the prices had gone up considerably, like triple what they had been, and that's still been the case. So this one came up. It was a little cheaper than it was cheaper than the other options, and in hindsight, I probably should have known that meant something. I don't think that the person that sold it to me sold it knowing that there was anything wrong with it. And honestly, I'm still not 100% convinced that there is something wrong, but I am fairly certain that the adjustment doesn't work, at least as like the way it should. So I don't think that it's working at all, but it may be. And what I found out. So there were issues with manufacture in the first place. There were some problems where maybe it didn't. There were just issues with the manufacturing itself, and that some of them just were not built properly. And then also, just, I guess, the way this mechanism works, there was problems with wear over time. And if you weren't, I guess, taking care of it, or let's say if it had been stuck, I guess, or had some restriction in movement, if you were too forceful with it, maybe that would cause a problem. I don't know. There's a spring in there. There's these plates, pressure, there's a whole bunch of like mechanism stuff in there. And I know that's real technical of me, but it's the type of thing where it's really fiddly, and I'm not entirely convinced that I'd be able to fix it if I were to start messing around with it. So anyway, let's go ahead and take a look at it. How we start there. So it came in its case. It's broken. One of the hinges is broken. The white plastic part is gone. So it's not like the greatest case, but it is the case. I don't know that it would have come with Schick blades. That doesn't seem like they would have, but I don't know. Maybe they did. But anyway, this is the injector that came in there. Now that I'm looking at this, maybe it isn't. I think this is I think this is actually the one that I have my Black Label blades loaded into. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I'm not shaving with the case, I promise. Okay. So the razor itself, like I mentioned, it's stainless steel on the top, and then it has this plastic grip underneath with these very, very small ridges. I think you can see that. Yeah. And it's a comfortable razor. It has a very long handle by injector standards, especially for the time. And I have let's see, do I have it next to me? I'm going to pause. Hang on one second. Okay, so yes, here's the Parker. This is version 2, but the version 1 was built the same way. So this is the Parker, and it goes from 1 to 5. It's actually noticeably lighter than the PAL, but it has a very similar construction, as you can see. So plastic on the bottom. I don't know if the adjustment is similar. And now that I'm looking at this thing is really was out of place there. It was pushed out. I don't know if these are very similar in terms of how they adjust or not. Maybe they are. Maybe this is meant to be a sort of very faithful reproduction of this. I'm not sure. Now that I see this, that interests me more than, we'll see the face is very different. So I don't know if you can tell, yeah. So on the PAL, one of the things that I was doing wrong, and you'll see it in the shave, is the angle of the head is actually not the true angle of the guard and the blade. And actually, instead of holding it perfectly, you know, flush, you actually have to tilt down a little bit, like about that much, to get the blade to bite where it's supposed to be. And I was holding it up higher, and I think maybe I wasn't getting a good connection with the blade, was using the wrong angle. Anyway, okay, this is the Parker. I don't need to be showing that anymore. So I think there is something wrong with the adjustment when I turn this. So apparently when it's the pressure is off, the blade is at its most open point, and by turning it down, you're actually putting pressure on the plate. And it apparently is different thicknesses inside of there. So as you're turning it, it's supposed to move these things. But as you can see, there's a lot of like fiddly little parts here. So there's this one little tab here that's supposed to be holding this base together. And then you've got 2 layers here, and then the top layer that comes around and folds over top. So there's a lot of things there to get potentially bent out of place. And then inside of there, there's apparently a spring and this plate itself that turns. So I think there's a lot of room for things to go wrong there. And if there was any manufacturing problem to begin with, and then if it's potential to, you know, wear these parts out, then it's quite possible that maybe this thing is just not working the way it's supposed to. But that said, you'll see in the shave, it's not like it mangled me. It didn't cut me. I didn't get as good a shave as I had hoped. Having looked at this thing and sort of built it up in my mind, I was hoping that it was going to be better than it was, and it just wasn't. So let's go ahead and see how much it weighs. So 51.7 grams. Let's go ahead and put that on ounces. Oop. And it is 1.82, yeah, 1.82 ounces. So it's got a decent weight to it. It's not, as far as injectors go, again, because the Parker is very similar in weight to the Schick M series adjustable, which is also right next to me. So since it's here, so here's the Schick M1 on the left here, which I know people don't think it's as pretty, but I don't know. I love this razor. This is my favorite injector, period, right here. This thing, I get amazing shaves out of it every single time. So why use another one, right? Well, because that's what we do. Okay, so that was the weight. Now get the measurement, and let's see. Okay, so it looks like it's 5 inches, like right at 5 inches. Maybe just a hair underneath of it. So like 4 15/16 or something. And so I'm going to say that's right around 13 centimeters. Yeah, just under 13. So probably 128 millimeters, something like that. So, okay, there's your razor. That's the weight and measurement. Lots to talk about that. Let me talk about DentonMajik here. So I have a little sample pot that was sent to me kindly by Matthew Lawrence. Thank you, Matthew. I'll leave he has an excellent YouTube channel. If you've never seen it, I'll leave a link to it in the description. So anyway, he sent me a couple of different samples of DentonMajik, which I really appreciate. This is the Unscented Game Changer base, and it's an excellent. It is a soap. It's not overly soft. I mean, it's soft. You can push your finger into it, but it's not like really super soft. So that's as much as I took out. You can see it really wasn't very much. And you will see that I actually cover lathering in this video, which I normally don't. So this is gonna be a long one. I apologize up front because I'm doing a razor report. I'm doing a shave. I'm gonna call it a software spotlight just because I have to have a name for everything. So I have a razor review and a software spotlight, and I go through the lathering and shaving and everything, but I'll leave chapters in the description like I normally do. So anyway, great base, excellent base. As good as anything I've used recently in terms of the quality of the lather, the slickness, the post-shave feel, all of that. Very, very nice. And you'll see in the video, I use some scent drops from Hendrix Classics & Co. DentonMajik also offers scent drops, fragrance oils. And I have no affiliation or anything, but I will link to DentonMajik, to their website in the description. And you'll see me lather it here in just a second. So with that, I think I'm ready to go ahead and get on with the shave. So I don't normally show my lathering technique, but I've been working pretty hard on it lately, and just I've felt as though I've started to get fairly decent at it. So just wanted to show. So I'm putting the soap in the bowl. That spoon I just showed is a bit of a joke. I have when I used to travel, I'd buy gag gifts for my wife, and that's the official spoon of like the LA County or something. Los Angeles was in the airport, and that was in the gift shop. So it was the most ridiculous thing there that I could buy for her, and I did. So anyway, I took a nice chunk of soap there. This is the DentonMajik unscented version of their Game Changer base. And I've had good luck with their with the base. The base itself is fantastic. I've been challenged, was challenged, I guess, by their fragrances. I think it's the KRS 1, I think it's called. And then I have another one, and they're different enough scents for me that I just sort of at first I just didn't know what to make of them, but honestly, after I've smelled them a couple more times, I had my wife and my daughter smell them, and they both like them. So anyway, so you can see here it's whipping up. It's nice, low structure, very creamy. I'm taking my time and adding sprays of water here. Started with a damp brush, and I try to, with the damp brush, get a sort of a creamy consistency. And here I'm putting in some barbershop drops from Hendrix Classics and Company. I think I put in like 3 or 4, just to add fragrance because it was unscented. So yeah, I try to start out with just making it creamy and not adding a lot of structure to it. Trying not to add a lot of bubbles and things. So whipping it up, and I'm obviously cutting through this because this is a whole like 8 minutes of me whipping this up, so I didn't want to take that much time in the video. But I'm adding sprays of water as I go, and then just mixing. Just add some more sprays, mix until it's well mixed in. And this brush, this 26 millimeter, not in this Phoenix Artisan Accoutrements brush, is really great for that. Anyway, nice lather. Used the shave butter from Vanderhagen, trying to use that up. Actually, I just got a PAA tube 2.0, which has the cube soap in a tube form, and I've switched to using that. So I may never finish the Vanderhagen at this point, but who knows? I may switch back and forth between them. Anyway, all right. So first pass with the PAL Adjustable, and I've gone over the razor report and all that, so I'm not going to cover any of that here. But I had it all the way up on the high setting, which I'm not convinced is actually doing anything. But you can see that I think I'm holding it at the wrong angle. So what I figured out is after I had this shave, I did a bunch of research for this video, and I should have done a bunch of research before I bought the razor, and I would have probably not bought it. But suffice to say that the angle is a little bit different, and I think it looks like I'm hitting the angle a little better now on my neck. But the gist is that the shape of the head is such that most, let's say most Schick, Schick injectors that I'm used to using, the blade angle and the head or the blade and the head are sort of on the same plane, if you will. So if you put the face of the razor on your face, and then slightly tilt just a little bit, you're right on the perfect angle. You could even leave it flat and still cut. It's close enough. But on this PAL adjustable, and someone had said, just look at the angle and you'll see it, and they're right. So the guard itself is offset, and so you have to be at a much steeper angle than normally would be the case with like a Schick. For at least part of the shave, I was just not at a great angle and didn't realize that was probably what was going on. And secondarily, I hadn't really realized that the adjustment knob doesn't appear to do very much on this razor. And like I covered in the beginning, that's apparently an issue that I wasn't aware of beforehand, and now I know. So but anyway, it's not like it's dangerous. It's not like it's, I cut myself up or anything like that. It just wasn't the greatest shave. So I'm obviously jumping ahead a little bit by saying that, but I mean, it felt okay, and I was adjusting it and just couldn't tell, whether or not it was adjusting or not. It didn't feel tremendously different. And what's interesting is some people will say that this is a very aggressive razor, and some people will say it's a very mild razor, even all the way up. So it's, I guess it either depends on the person's face and how they feel about a razor, or maybe it's that the razors that they have are different from each other because of the, either the wear on the razor, or that it's just wasn't manufactured properly, whatever the case is. So I'm here on the third pass, and you can hear it's, there's a lot of feedback. It's definitely cutting. It's not that it's not working. It just didn't work as well as I expected it to, I guess. Because I'd been looking at these for a while and thinking, it's so much like the Parker. Yeah, I would say the Parker's very, very close to this, and then maybe even the Supply. So, and that's a tough spot right there. Most razors don't do a very good job on that area. I know there's a lot of people that don't even bother trying to get BBS on their neck because it's just too difficult and causes too much irritation and never ends well. But I really want a BBS shave every time, and I'm taking steps to try to accomplish that. Through technique, through as preparation, and soaps, and trying to get the lather just right, and I'm trying to put the effort into getting that BBS shave, and some razors just can't do it. They're just not good at it. And here I'm doing a full, not a full, but a pretty extensive pickup pass, because I just couldn't get a very close shave, which again could come down to the angle I was holding at. I am going to try it again. I am going to try using this again, even though I think it is broken. Even if it's broken, it's at least on a setting where it's cutting, cutting the hair. So if I get the angle right, it should do okay. And apparently you can take these apart. And I mean, it may come down to I use it again and it just doesn't work properly. And at this point, I don't feel right trying to sell this razor to anyone else. So I may just end up taking it apart and trying to fix it. And you can hear it's still cutting, but looking at this now, I do think maybe my angle was a little too shallow based on what I've read from all the research I did since I've had this shave. And again, that's just my experience, you know, of using injectors, the Schick injectors in particular, about, you know, putting that head on your, you know, the face of the razor on your face. So, all right, let's see what the Alum Test shows us. It's been so long since I shaved this shave. This is weeks ago. I'm so far behind in my videos, but I don't even remember. Come on. No? A little bit? Okay, a little bit in the normal spots. All right, and after that, I towel off the alum, and then I've been using the HDNC White Star line, their balm, their aftershave balm, and the unscented variety, and then adding. I mixed up a couple little pots of that balm with some of the drops, and I used Barbershop because I had used that in the soap as well. And the White Star balm is really nice. I know I use it every time, and you've probably heard me talk about it, but if you haven't, it's Hendrix Classics and Company, their value line. And for a pretty decent sized tub, it's $8.50, which is a pretty good price for the quality that you're getting. So why I was putting it in my goatee, I have no idea. Not the worst shave. I didn't nick myself. You know, I wasn't bleeding, but just not my best. So, oh well. Okay, well, so not my best shave. It's bound to happen, isn't it? You know, how do you know the good ones are really good unless you have a bad one now and then? So anyway, I wouldn't even call it bad, honestly. It was a fine shave. It was DFS, you know, it was not bad. It just didn't. I'm so used to using single edge razors and getting just absolutely flawless BBS shaves. That's true of gems and injectors and Artist Club. I mean, it doesn't matter. There's something about single edge razors that I get excellent shaves from. And so this was a little disappointing. Ironically, maybe not ironically, this Parker, do not get particularly great shaves from. Now, I'm wondering if it's a faithful reproduction of this razor, of the PAL, then maybe I'm off on the angle with the Parker as well, and it makes me want to go back and revisit this. Also, this has I think a Schick blade in it, a Schick yellow Schick, the modern Schicks, and I'm curious to see what this will feel like with the Supply Black Label, because those are my favorite blades now. So anyway, there you go. All kinds of stuff in this one. Again, the razor, you know, it's perfectly fine. I'd like to find a better one. I'd like to find one from a reputable source who's shaved with it, who can say, yes, this works, and, you know, pay a reasonable amount of money for it, more than, you know, than I did for this one. This one admittedly was inexpensive, and I probably should have known better, but oh well. And DentonMajik, I actually was in contact with the owner. He had seen me leave a comment about not getting, enjoying the base, but maybe not having the best time with the scents, the fragrances themselves. And So he had offered to send me some samples and things. And I mean, it was nice of him to reach out and to at least, you know, start a conversation with me about like, you know, hey, what is it that you don't like, that kind of thing. So I like when I see when, you know, who am I? And I just leave a comment on some random YouTube video and someone hunts me down and and talks to me. I think he found me on Instagram or something. So anyway, yeah, but excellent bass. My wife really enjoyed them. And so Kusafiri, that's the other one I have. So I have KRS-One and Kusafiri. Those are the two I have. And so anyway, I will use them. I know that the performance will be great, and I think the scent, the fragrance will grow on me. So anyway, I know this has been a ridiculously long video. I appreciate you hanging in there with me. I will try not to double up on these where I'm having a razor report and a software spotlight and, you know, whatever other goofy thing I come up with. I will try not to make them this long because I know it can be agonizing sometimes, especially whenever the guy just doesn't shut up and he just keeps, you know, dragging on the video and it's been over for 5 minutes and he just keeps talking and talking. But I would never do that. No, never. All right. I swear I'm done. Thank you for taking your time to watch this. I know there's lots of different options out there, and I certainly appreciate you taking the time to spend on this one. So comments, questions, feedback, anything, please comments below. Like and subscribe, all that fun stuff. And I will see you in another video very soon. All right. Bye-bye.